Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Gooners podcast. I don't know if I have to say another episode because we keep promising that we'll be more regular and we fall off the wagon so often. The only thing we are consistent is our inconsistency, but obviously we are back with a very good episode today to talk about the Crystal Palace win, a very fantastic week for Arsenal again. To talk about that with me today, I have Arun with me. Hi, Arun.
Hello.
Welcome back. Before we start, the regular stuff, do like, share, subscribe, and comment in your thoughts. But Arun, before we talk about the excellent season we have been having, before anything that Arsenal can bring joy to me, there's the other lot down the street.
with a generational manager, a serial winner who has the habit of winning. Oh my God, what a press conference that was.
How is that a club that can keep giving us so many moments? I have a friend who's a friend is a loose term, but he's a Spurs fan, and some of my common friends were talking about they have they know nothing about football, right? But they were talking about oh, how was the game and stuff, and I was just laughing, going you guys could have kids, and those kids would grow up and start watching football, and still Spurs would be Spurs.
I really don't know what to say at this point. I don't know if we had to laugh at Tottenham as a club or the fans for all the trust that they put in on Conte, and him and the team having a disaster of a season. How many points are we off them now? 20 points? It's like I said, I really don't know who to laugh at. I'm still lost. I don't know whom to laugh at. The way in which the manager has thrown the players under the bus in an instant. These players who were supposedly his players, and they were bought over transfer windows where they supposedly won their way to the title, and they're beaten us, and they had players from these transfer windows who were already voted as the transfers of the season at the beginning of the season, the best buys of the season. And now he comes in and he says the players have no idea what to play for. And on top of that, we did see that the board was trying to come to a decision as to whether they want to keep him or not. There's still a lot of speculation, they're going to sack him and all that. And today, we hear something new saying that they're going to be there's a bunch of players who actually agree with the manager, and when does this stop?
there is this meme, right? Where a house is on fire, and then the man is on fire, and then the dog is on fire. It's everything is on fire there.
And now Kane wants to leave,
and they're not even relegation battle or anything.
That's the thing. Four. Top four. It goes at 28 games, in spite of being in the top four, everybody is it's like a dumpster on fire there right now. It goes to show the level of confidence that is prevailing, not just amongst the fan base, but even at the club level, as to whether they'd be able to. They're I said at the beginning, it's beginning of the season, I did mention this. I don't want this to happen, but they'll finish in the top four. I still believe that. I still believe they can finish in the top four. But in spite of all of this, in spite of the position they are, if this is the this is the situation they're there, man, people ask me if I feel sad for Tottenham or Chelsea or what's happening. No, I don't feel sad. I feel happy when I see something going wrong at Barcelona, them being in trouble. I'm happy. When when I see these things, I'm happy. I'm like, it's like Mikel, like it's so
It's
much
like
fun.
karma getting back. So yeah.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Now,
But
I would be really like, if they do not finish in the top four, and if they are like in a really bad situation, I would love to see what the media and the pundits have to say about it, with what they predicted at the beginning of the season. If Newcastle is going to replace Tottenham in the top six like they did with Leicester and us, I would love to see what the reactions are going to be at the end of the
oh,
season.
as long as darling Kane is there, they are going to
Well,
be
that's another thing. He wants to
swearing
leave
about
as
it.
well right now, and they're going to like they're asking for 100 million for a
Yeah.
30-year-old striker. Like I have no idea what what they're thinking. And next, you just wait and see. Like he'll stay there for another 6 months, and probably next January he'll be available for like 20-25 million. When they'll be desperate to sell, he'll be desperate to leave, and some team will come. Probably United will come and get him.
Daniel Levy is crazy. But anyways, that was our fun. Now getting
Oh,
back to the
it's
game,
good.
it was absolutely fun game too. I mean, us finishing so strong after that debacle in the Europa League, especially after like, I mean, I don't know if I should touch on the Europa League a little bit. I mean, you know what? We'll touch on that a little bit. Do you feel Arteta feels a little bit off when it comes to European Championship?
It's
I
he
mean,
has.
it is a very broad sentence to make at this point. I understand that because we have only had like few moments, but it just feels odd that the team kind of stumbles every time in Europa League so easily.
I think right now it's probably just got to do with like the familiarity of the opposition. In
Mhm.
England, like we played all the teams right now as a team that's growing and evolving, and like the kind of setup that we are trying to put in together. The tweaks that have been made are, this is just my logic. I don't, and I think this is probably why like we always find it difficult in Europe. We are never adapted to that situation. Wenger really did not care as much. He just wanted to play the same level of football. But in Europe, we always say like the amount of time that you have on and off the ball, especially away from home, these are the things that dictate like how you do in Europe. These was one situation where we wanted the away rule to be like away goals rule to be in place, and that's when they remove it. Nothing against that, but just like I believe it's just a part of the process of evolution. Like, the more European opposition that we play, the way in which a sporting play is probably very different from like what any team in England plays with their on the ball, off the ball movement, their aggression, and the crowds as well. So for me, it's just like a part of the evolution. Like I would just like be interested in seeing how they do in the Champions League next season, because the level of the opposition is different. Again, like we get to play these games at home where a higher quality opposition is definitely going to be coming home for sure. And at that point, like I feel the team would be adapting to how they are performing, like these European teams are performing, to be able to like, no, I wouldn't say negate, to counter how they play.
But okay, that is a problem for next season. That is a problem for next season. But let's cut back to the Crystal Palace game.
Mhm.
Uh, it was a weird game for me to like get into, because the thing is like before the game they sacked Vieira, and Crystal Palace are always a difficult opponent for us, even though we have,
Especially at home. Have you
yeah,
noticed? Like,
especially
we
at
always,
home.
yeah.
So which was all weird, and then like there has been this talk about like how Arsenal, once they lose or like once they go like once the heads drop, Arsenal players are not easy to pick the heads back up. So
That's
it
the,
was all.
the narrative that a lot of people who do not want Arsenal to win the league, like like the fact that they're not able to, let's be honest, it was a huge like pleasant surprise for a lot of us fans too. So like all the other people who are like bantering against us, it's I believe that's a narrative that they're trying to build, that we are a team that like the shoulders drop, and then
Mhm.
once it does, we never are able to come back and give like a strong performance. But then, like you said, today's the win against Palace was a testament of what we could possibly do. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, go.
No, because I was also going on about like how low block has been a little bit of problem. We have talked about this in our
Yeah,
podcast, and but we just swatted away the low block. Like there was nothing there. We could have scored more goals if we
for
wanted.
sure.
And to get back to the starting lineup, right? Like to get back to the starting lineup, I was nervous because Saliba was not there. Bringing in Rob Holding, I know that a lot of people would bring in comparisons with or like the PTSD of the North London Derby, but Rob Holding has been our like decent enough performer. He has his
Mm.
flaws, he has his positives, he has his flaws. So I would say like it was a big statement by the manager to put like Rob Holding in this match. I mean, there was not much of a option for him. Instead, like he could have played Kiwi, or that's the only other option he had. But picking Rob Holding in that position, especially made that statement for me where he was like, last season he was saying all good things about Rob Holding. So not picking him would have given out the wrong message, is what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Like, we could have played QVR, or there were also like people who are saying that probably Ben White should play at centre back and we should like, get Roel Walters or someone to play in at right back, or vice versa. But honestly, Holding he's he's average, and we know what is like, what best he can do, what his
But
strengths
he
are.
is our fourth choice
That's the
center
thing.
back.
That's the thing. I cannot expect more from a fourth choice center back. That's what I'm saying. Like, in a game like this, where though the opposition has not scored in a long time, they haven't had a shot on target and all that the opposition needs is like one chance to like, score a goal and just sit back. And that's all they need. But him doing like certain tackles in the game, it was like, for me, more than anything, like you mentioned, the faith that the manager had on the player. For me, it was how well we have evolved as a team and how well the system is helping even like mediocre players. And more than the system, it's like the confidence that the team has in someone like Rob Holding coming in, like you said, the fourth choice center back coming in, the way in which we are setting up and the system being so nice that the remaining 10 players have the confidence in Rob Holding that he will not be messing anything up as well. So we are like able to sort of play well together, no matter who the player coming in or going out is. Of course, there's a levels in quality. There's a drop in quality for sure. Saliba playing and Holding playing are not the same. But Holding playing did not make us feel like we were going to lose the game at any point in time. And that's the most important thing. That's the most important thing that you want to have. Like, we have seen games where if the player is not playing well, the remaining teammates don't pass to him,
Mhm.
or like, they hesitate to pass to him because like they are not sure about what his next action is going to be. I didn't see that happening once in the game against like, Palace yesterday with Holding. Agreed, the opposition is Palace, but like I said, all that they need is one chance. And yeah, Holding, for me, he did a really good job. There was an initial hiccup where he like put on that excellent tackle on Zaha, but unfortunately the ball just bounces off him and then
Yeah.
Zaha goes in. But apart from that one incident, uh, he never put a foot wrong. He was fantastic. He knew his limitations. Like, you're not going to be expecting Hollywood long passes or like,
He
um,
did pass well. Like, I mean,
that's a thing.
we did not get like Hollywood long passes, but he was not bad.
That's a thing.
Everyone kind of has this mentality that he is bad with passing. He's not that bad. He's just
He's
not Saliba. That's it.
Exactly. He did, like, for me, what was expected of him. And like I said, like the way in which the remaining 10 people played alongside, like, with him, it sort of negated whatever deficiencies he had. And like we know what
Mhm.
his deficiencies are. Like, would I trust him in a game like an opposition against Liverpool at Anfield? No. At that point, I would definitely be worried. But like, it's these games that make a difference. When we lose points in these games where we're supposed to win, like Palace at home, that's when it hurts more than an Anfield away.
Yeah.
Anfield away, you're not expecting that much of a result already. So at this point, like, yeah, when in games like this, I'm really happy with like what Saliba's doing. Sorry,
Uh,
Holding is. I'm pretty sure he's going to be there in the game against Leeds as well. So
yeah, I don't think Saliba is back by then.
yeah.
But the other surprise choice for me was really the one that I wanted to talk about. I mean, Holding I wanted to talk, but also like the other surprising choice was bringing in Martinelli to play that.
Mm.
I thought like 120 minutes this kid plays and then he misses the crucial penalty. Maybe give him a breather and bring in, like, we have people now. It's not like we don't have people. We have like Smith Rowe back. We have Trossard who can play there. We can play Gabriel Jesus up top. But no, he gets the nod ahead. And what a way to announce that! Like, he's just answering his critics, just coming off, and that first goal, brilliant
Fantastic finish.
finish.
Like that's the thing I find. Like, we know Martinelli is not a like a natural wide winger. He's more of like a Suarez, I would say, like, or an inside forward player with a fantastic finishing.
Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, Sanchez. Yeah, Sanchez, you could say. Like, so that's given that, like, we are now maximizing his strength with the evolution of the team, with just him coming in as an inside forward and utilizing his finishing, which is probably his biggest strength, along with his speed. So whatever he did, I'm pretty sure he went to Arteta and he said, like, probably play me for this game. Like, I would play. He's not going on international duty either. So he must have gone in and said, like, play me and then I'll take the rest. I don't care. Like, that's the kind of kid that he is. Like, every time you see him play, there's no short of enthusiasm. His decision making is something that we keep complaining about, but there's never has been a sort of a shortage of enthusiasm or eagerness in the way in which he plays. So given that, like, I was very, very happy with how he played. Like, his the goal tally just keeps increasing, and he seems to be quiet most of the games. That's the thing. He doesn't like do like we keep saying the problem with him is that he doesn't lift his head up when he passes, or, like, he's not looking for the right cross. But if he's able to put in finishes like that, the crossing part is something that can always be, like, brought in. A natural finish is something that players work
No one
years to
can.
get.
Yeah, there is a reason why it's called natural finisher, right?
Exactly.
Like, not many can do it.
That's like wired into your brain, the way in which you get into these right positions, and the way in which you back yourself to score from certain positions. Not everybody, like, are able to score like that. So for me, the way in which he's evolving as a player at this age is really good. His deficiencies, of course, if you want to compare him with, like, what Saka is doing, of course there are deficiencies in his game, but that's what Saka is doing and what Martinelli are doing in this team are two totally different things.
But that's the thing, right? Like, that's the thing. I mean, we have to get back to Saka, but the thing is, like, we have probably 4 of the top 10 20-year-olds in the world.
For sure, yeah.
In Saliba, Odegaard, Martinelli, and Saka.
100%, yeah.
Like, there is no question that these are the top 20-year-olds in the world at this moment.
Yeah.
Right? And we are talking about the top 10, and then we are nitpicking things. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't be, but still, like,
now, more than nitpicking, I would say, like, this is where I feel his game is evolving.
He's 21, Arun, right?
Yeah.
21.
And it's evolving. That's good, right? You've seen, like, so many people, like, an hour, for an example, at 21, he was supposed to be the next big thing in the world. Like, right now, what is he doing? He's, like, transferring between, like, French clubs, second tier clubs. It's like how you are at 21 and how you evolve and adapt is what's going to determine what sort of a player you are at 25, right? So I am super happy with the evolution of Martinelli. Like, I'm, like, really excited to see what more he's going to add to his game,
But okay, the other
and the mentality to miss a penalty like that, like, probably Saka would have helped him. That's another thing that we have in this team. Like, there is competition, but every single player is coming out to support another player. Like, we saw Jesus was, like, constantly in touch with Nketiah, like, throughout this time that he was injured, to, like, encourage him and like, help him play. Same thing, I'm pretty sure, like, Saka would have probably had a few words of encouragement from Martinelli after that penalty. Like, like, he's been in a worse situation, been through racial abuse, and then he's come back and had the season that he's had. Martinelli has had a fantastic season. He's got the numbers to back him. One penalty is not going to change anything. And like, for him to come back from that, just the way in which he played the game, it wasn't like someone was dejected with
someone who's not hiding. Remember, like, the days when Ozil, Mustafi, and all used to play, the players used to hide, like, not wanting to receive the ball, not wanting to be seen.
And the effort that goes into games like this, when you don't want to, like, when you're not confident, as opposed to the effort that you put in when you're confident, is like, that makes a difference in these games. Like you said, not receiving the ball. If a guy like Ozil is not receiving the ball, or just, like, playing back a pass to the nearest player rather than, like, him trying to do anything, that sort of, like, dampens what the manager had, like, laid the plans out for. In games like this, like that, I guess that's, like, the freedom of youth.
Yeah,
the freedom of a player of that age, like, you're not scared of anything. The fearlessness that he has, he knows that he can experiment like this. He's 21. He knows he has a long career ahead if he does the right thing. So, like, the fact that he can go out there fearlessly and, like, think that it's possible for him to sort of dictate the game or not even dictate, just be able to like be involved as much as he did and score the goals that he did, or like provide an assist. Fantastic, fantastic game.
But I mean, should we even talk about Saka? We have talked like
Oh
we
no,
have we have
Saka just
we have had
always a
like
mention about
superlatives.
Saka in every game. So I mean, like I'm running out of superlatives to talk about this kid. Like we've got a gem, and it's not just about like how well he plays. It's like how grounded he is. And like if the post match pressure, they were like continuously match of the day and all that. They were continuously like trying to like make him spill something that would make him seem arrogant and like talking about the title race or whatever it might be. The only thing that he said was, "We don't fear anyone." And
Yes.
that's the mentality of the team that's supposed to be. And so like it was like there was not a hint of arrogance, no saying that, oh, we can beat anybody, we are like bringing it on, nothing of that sort. We don't fear anybody. That's the mentality that you need to have, whether you're going to Anfield. Well, we as fans can be worried about like our team going to Anfield, but like the players feel the same way. Then there's no battle there at that point.
But okay, so actually, I have to like when we are talking about Saka, I have to talk about like Ben White and Gareth
Did you
Southgate's
expect him to
decision.
like last the 90 minutes, like Ben White, given that he played for so long against like
He
Sporting?
No, I mean we yanked him, right? Like we replaced him with Partey at the end of the game. So
Yeah, but like even if you think about it, he played what, like 110 minutes of the Sporting game,
yeah,
and then this game he played another 70, 80.
yeah. But the thing is, like, okay, no, I was not worried about Ben White's fitness because he seems to be all right. But my thing was like, what is Gareth Southgate doing? Right? Like that is like no matter who the right back is. I'm not saying like, oh, Ben White is the best right back. He might not be for England. He might not be. I don't know because I don't watch other games that much. So, but that right side of Arsenal with Ben White and Saka is probably one of the most functional right sides in the world right now. And why is Gareth Southgate not seeing that? Like, oh, if these two players work together, and Saka is going to be the player for England, what is going through Gareth Southgate's mind?
For me, it's good that he's not saying it. Ben White gets the rest he deserves. And like, with Tomiyasu not being there and probably out for the season, we need to like preserve Ben White, as much as possible. So given that, like, I'm happy that he's not going. But like honestly, I think the reason probably that they're not doing it is like, they have Trippier with a white crosser. Like if you notice, Trent is not there and due to his defensive deficiencies, but Trippier is there. And I you're right. Like Ben White and Saka, they play in a higher or a better setup along with like a technician like Odegaard on the right side. You do not have the same thing in England. Like I don't know why, because you have the players. Phil Foden can definitely do like a good job on the right side, but like I don't know why he's not being played. But still, that's not the same setup. Good for us, bad for England.
Okay.
That's I would say, like good for us.
But the thing is, like on that topic, because we have to talk about like, okay, Tomiyasu is not here. We have 10 more games to play. Um, would we be okay who is going to fill in for that spot? Because we saw Partey being filling into the spot, and I have no trouble in like Partey filling that spot as right back. The problem for me is taking Partey out of his best position, like out of a position that he is best in the world right now. I don't see anyone else doing what Partey does better than him. Even Rodri is not he's not as good as Partey. This game he proved once again why he is the guy in the midfield. So taking him out of that position, no matter like Jorginho is not bad, but that's what it is. He's not bad is what the situation is. It's not like, oh, he's going to replace Partey. He would be fine. Fine is not enough, especially when you're going like 10 games into the season.
That's
So
how the way in which I see it is like we have 10 games, and that's all we have. We're not playing for anything else. So that means that we really do not have to think about too many substitutions or like thinking about like player fatigue and injuries, especially in this situation of Ben White, given that he's not going on international duty either. That's why if he has been able to play that game for however long he did, the game against Palace after having played against Sporting, that for me is sort of like an indication that he has it in him to be able to play continuously these games. And given that the games that we have apart from City, I think maybe we have one midweek game if I'm not wrong, but the rest of them all are during the weekend. So again, players get enough rest. So it's sort of, unless there is something untoward that happens during the game, the probability of players getting injured due to fatigue is very little at this point. So White will play all the games, and in the chance that he doesn't play, or he needs to be substituted, at that point party will play right back. I would like trust him over anyone else that we have in the squad, like over Roel Walters, or even if he's young. I think the
No,
best
but like, why can't we play like, one of our, like, anyways, Tierney is not playing as many games as, I mean, as
for what we are doing with this team, I do not know if like playing a left back out of position will work in here. That's my concern, because of how they go high up the pitch or how the positions they occupied. It's like your favorite leg, and Tierney only uses his left. He hardly ever uses his right leg. So it makes it sort of easier for the opposition player coming on his right foot to be able to take the ball off him. That's my biggest concern always. Like, the way in which teams are attacking, they're always using like wingers with inverted wingers. Nobody's using classic wingers anymore. So on the opposite side, if there's a player coming in, he's going to obviously use his right for the left winger. So for me, that makes it really easy to nick the ball off a left-footed player at that point than a right-footed player. So your angles are going to be much easier. Your passing angles are going to be like also like not the same anymore. So and Tierney does not pass the same way like Ben White passes or a Zinchenko passes. So that would be my biggest concern. So that's why I wouldn't play like a Zinchenko or a Tierney out of position. We have what we have. It creates a sort of an imbalance, in my opinion, if we do that. And again, because of how high we press, the situations or positions where we lose the ball matters a lot. And though Tierney has the recovery pace to be able to get back and beat his man, you lose the ball against a good team, that's it. It's done. So for me, I would play Ben White week in, week out. If you want to be substituted at 70 minutes, Partey takes over your position. Assuming that by that 70, 80 minutes, we are in a really good position in the game and we don't have to like really worry about losing that control that Partey gives us in the midfield. That's how I would look at this. Again, that would mean that Partey plays some extra games, but like Partey could be given a rest during a game, like where I know no team is easy, but like where we really do not need that level of dynamism in the midfield, and we could do with Jorginho's passing, like how we did against Sporting, in the, like when he sent that assist for the first goal. So that would be my plan. Like we have what we have, rather than like trying to reinvent the wheel. Let's maximize what we have.
Okay, since we are running out of the time, so I just want to touch upon one more player before we let go, which is Trossard. This guy, when he came in, we were all, not happy about the whole thing. Like, as in, like, we wanted Modric, and we ended up with Trossard. But now it feels like Trossard fits this team, fits what is needed. Like, especially when you saw that goal that Xhaka scored. Last couple of games, I've been seeing Xhaka becoming the old Xhaka, like before World Cup Xhaka. And that is no way, no way we are talking bad about Nketiah, but that is mainly due to Trossard playing that role a different way to what Nketiah was doing. So, I mean, are you thinking that this is a happy accident, or was this like for you? Yeah, this is a plan B, and it worked.
The thing is that, like, honestly, Mudrik, we know what his potential is, we know what his ceiling is. We've seen that what he can possibly do in like not just Ukraine and in the European games as well. So I'm pretty sure, like, even if he's not doing things right now, or he's getting the expected results, a season or two down the line, he's going to be a superstar. Like, if he's with the right manager. And Arteta thought right now he's the right manager to be able to unlock him and maximize his potential, and do what he needs to be doing. Will he have been able to do as good a job at center forward as Trossard is doing? I don't know, because that again, like Mudrik he's young and his experience is all mostly from playing on the left wing. So for me, it's like a very intelligent piece of business that we did. Like, the fact that we were not perturbed, or we didn't seem like we lost the plot and started panicking at any point. Like, a panic buy would have been another player at 90 million who might have not been like in a finished article. But Trossard at 28, he was like, it probably the peak years are this next 2-3 years right now for a player. A right situation, You could call it a happy accident. You could call it like, something that worked really well for us. But also again, like the scouting that has gone in, and to be able to be aware of, it's not, these are the kind of players that, like, especially what happened at Brighton with him and Deserby, like, the discipline issues and all that. We took a punt. If you honestly think about it, what
Mm-hmm.
Arteta is trying to build and all that, we are trying to build a young team that, like, sort of like aligned towards one single goal, and there's just no, like, sort of problems in the dressing room. There's the maintaining harmony and all that. And at that point, like, going to choose a player who's had a falling out with the manager and was training outside, it seemed totally out of character. But again, like, it's sort of like also showed the scouting and the internal work that went behind the scenes. Like, I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
Edu and his team and the scouts were well aware of every single incident that was happening. It's a huge punt to take.
Yeah.
You don't throw 20 million away just like that.
Yeah, and not just that, right? Like right now, it feels like uh, Gabriel Jesus has to earn his place back.
And that's the thing. The impact that he's creating, like, we lost those 3 games without him. I'm thinking, like, even if he'd been there for the Everton game, we could have at least gotten a point.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a whole lot of difference. And as soon as he came in, we have not lost a single game, like, apart from that, in the league, of course. Like, we did lose to City and Sporting, but, like, this is the kind of impact that you would expect from your January signing. That's what January signings are all about. You're not going to go out in January and buy like a world beater because you can. You go out and buy players who are going to be helping you for the remaining part of the season, no matter what your targets are. And these are the kind of people who would, like, complement a squad, like, make the existing incumbent players, like, push themselves, like, like, probably he would push Jesus more than what Eddie could.
Yeah.
And that's what you need in a team like this. He's going to push Martinelli, he's going to push Jesus, and that's what you need in this team. Again, no slating Eddie. He's done a fantastic job in Jesus' absence, but he's a different type of player, and you don't expect him to do what, like, Trossard did, the same way you don't expect Trossard to do what Eddie does.
Okay, so that's all the players that we have to talk about, and all
And
the.
every single player is important.
I'm not questioning that. I'm not questioning that. But 10 games to go, Arun. Are you dreaming?
Not yet. I would like to see the result at Anfield,
Mm.
because that's like, you think about it. We had like 28 games and 69 points. We are 30-72 after, if we win at Leeds, which is very likely. Again, it's a home game, right, for us, I believe.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we should be able to win that game. It's nice to come back from a break back home and then win a game. But the very next game, if we are 30-72, then at that point, like, we'll have to see. But again, I am really, really, really praying that Liverpool takes something off of City when they come back from the break. Though it's a game at Etihad, like, Liverpool have things to play for as well. It's not like their season is done, and we all know what the difference is between the 4th spot and the 5th spot.
Yeah.
So they are going to be going all out, and that makes a difference in them being able to get their target, like a Jude Bellingham or whoever it might be. So
Mhm.
they will be going all out, and I'm hoping that they go with the same fervor against City away that they had, and at least get, like, a draw against them. And then after that, if they get a draw, that makes things much easier for us. At that point, the Liverpool the result might not matter, but, like, I would like to see till Anfield, because it's not the running of 10 games that we have has, like, 5 difficult games, in my opinion, with Liverpool being one of them. Though
Mhm.
Chelsea are not playing great, I would never discount them. Like, it's still a
Yeah.
home. So, like, if they can still snatch a couple of points away from us. So out of those 5 games, like, this probably Anfield and Etihad probably the toughest ones.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would like to see after Anfield.
Okay, but I keep saying like last question, last question, last question, and stuff like keep building up. But the thing is like oh, I lost a train of thoughts there. Um, but the thing is, yeah, if if you begin dreaming, what is the thing that you would do? For me, I'm thinking of like going there. If that happens, I'm going there.
I was already
I will
thinking
I will
about
wait outside the stadium if I don't get a ticket and just listen to it.
it is an option. It is an option. Like, I was thinking about it. That's an option. Like, going there is an option, or like, getting something tattooed is an option. But, like, yeah, I am really not sure at this point. Like, these are the kind of thoughts that keep you so disappointed at the end if things don't work out. And you see that happen time and again. So I'm really like, trying hard to not think about what would happen if we win. Like, not think about what could possibly be the team for the next game, how many points we could be at, what the opposition is going. It's difficult to keep those thoughts out, but I'm trying to be as equanimous about it as possible and not think about these things.
But one last
It's
thing
tough.
that we should But one last thing we should think about is like the title challenges, Manchester United being, how many points are they behind us? 19 at
I
like
think so, yeah.
title challenges, right? So yeah, taking a moment to laugh at them.
It's
But
funny. It's because of a few people and pundits that, like, a few fans and pundits that, like, everyone else is getting the slander. It's funny.
anyways, I think that's where we would leave today. Thanks, Arun. Thanks for joining in. This has been like
Thanks a lot.
happy sharing happiness around is what I would say to this episode. And everyone, like, just to like, share, comment, and like commenting your happiness and your thoughts on what if we dream, what if the dream comes true. So that's where I would leave you with. Thank you for joining in, and meet you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.